Georgia Williams was born on September 7, 1995, in Shropshire, England, into a tightly knit and loving family. Her father, Stephen, served as a police officer, and she lived with her mother, Lynette, and older sister, Scarlett. From a young age, Georgia displayed remarkable intelligence, warmth, and a vibrant personality. She excelled academically, consistently achieving top grades and earning the prestigious role of head girl at her school. Passionate about aviation and emergency medicine, she joined the Air Training Corps with aspirations to become a Royal Air Force paramedic. Active and adventurous, Georgia loved playing sports and exploring the outdoors, always eager to embrace new challenges. Despite her youthful age of 17, Georgia was known for her maturity and caring attitude towards others. At the age when she could start working, Georgia took a part-time job at a local petrol station, where she quickly formed friendships with her colleagues. Among them was Jamie Reynolds, 23 years old at the time, who had attended school with her sister Scarlett. Reynolds developed a romantic interest in Georgia, which she politely declined. Despite this, Georgia continued to treat Reynolds with kindness and inclusion, mindful of his feelings and empathetic towards his past experiences of being bullied. Her commitment to ensuring no one felt excluded reflected her deep-seated compassion and understanding of others' struggles. Reynolds worked full-time at the petrol station and confided in Georgia about his passion for photography, expressing a desire to pursue it as a career. Encouraged by Georgia and their mutual friends, he asked if Georgia would be willing to model for some photographs to build his portfolio, to which she happily agreed. They arranged to conduct the photo shoot at Jamie's parents' house on May 26, 2013, starting around 7:30 p.m. On the evening of the shoot, Georgia left a family barbecue, assuring her family she would return later, as she was known for being responsible and reliable. The walk to Jamie's house was a short one, only a few minutes away on foot. As the evening progressed without her return, Lynette, Georgia's mother, sent her a text message to check on her whereabouts and expected time of return. Georgia replied, indicating that the photo shoot had concluded, but she would be staying longer with her friends. Her message concluded with her customary 3 kisses, reassuring her mother of her well-being. The next morning, around 6 a.m. on Monday, Georgia's mother went to check on her daughter, only to find her bed untouched, raising immediate concern. She sent Georgia a message asking about her whereabouts. Several hours later, she received a response stating that Georgia had lost track of time, stayed at a friend's place, and forgot to message earlier. The message ended abruptly with a note about low battery, a behavior unusual for Georgia, who was conscientious about keeping her family informed of her plans. Georgia was scheduled to attend a music festival and have her first driving lesson, plans she wouldn't typically miss without notice, causing growing concern for her parents. By Tuesday morning, with no contact from Georgia for nearly 2 days, panic set in. Her parents contacted her friends, none of whom had seen or heard from her. Calls to Georgia's phone went straight to voicemail. Her boyfriend, Matthew, turned to Facebook, making a heartfelt appeal for information. News spread rapidly that Georgia was missing, prompting her parents to contact the police. The only lead they had was that she had spent time with Jamie Reynolds the previous evening. When the police ran a quick routine background check on Reynolds, they immediately became concerned. In 2008, when he was 17 years old, Reynolds was given a final warning for attempting to strangle a 16-year-old girl he had lured into false pretenses of helping her with a project. The youth offending team and mental health services made visits to Reynolds to assess the situation further. His parents had told the team he had an obsession with violent pornography and snuff films depicting rape and asphyxiation. They also said they had found several disturbing pictures of girls in school uniforms. He had drawn over them and put nooses around their necks. The teams individually determined that he posed a significant risk, but unfortunately, the police took no further action, believing the case had been, in their words, suitably resolved. In 2011, Reynolds came to police attention once more when he intentionally collided with a colleague's car after she rejected his romantic advances. However, no checks connecting him to the 2008 case were conducted at the time. Using CCTV and number plate recognition, authorities identified Reynolds and his van at a budget hotel nearly 300 miles away in Glasgow, Scotland. Despite the alarming circumstances, there was no trace of Georgia Williams. He was observed changing clothes hastily in a car park near his van. Shropshire police reached out to Police Scotland, prompting Reynolds to be detained for questioning. Initially denying any knowledge of George's whereabouts, his background raised suspicions, leading to his arrest and transport back to Shropshire for further investigation. Reynolds maintained his silence and denied all allegations. Early the next morning, around 5:30 a.m., senior police officers arrived at the Williams home. Instantly, George's parents sensed the devastating truth. Their beloved daughter was no longer alive. The investigation team returned to Reynolds' last known location, his house, for a thorough search. What they discovered shook even the most seasoned officers to their core. Inside Reynolds' house, they found his camera with a memory card. Someone had attempted to erase its contents, but fortunately, they were unsuccessful. The images painted a chilling picture of Georgia Williams' fate. They depicted her forced onto a box with a noose around her neck. Reynolds had kicked the box from beneath her, hanging her. Throughout the house, she was photographed in this horrifying state. Afterward, Reynolds violated her lifeless body, documenting his depravity with further photographs. Armed with this evidence, Reynolds was formally charged. However, he refused to disclose the location of George's body. Detective Sergeant Hopwood, assigned to the case, described Reynolds as manipulative, playing games with investigators. The police began piecing together Reynolds' movements in the days following George's disappearance, utilizing CCTV footage crucially to strengthen their case. A day after George's disappearance, Reynolds was captured on camera refueling his van. Unbeknownst to anyone at the time, George's lifeless body was in the back of the vehicle. Following her murder, Reynolds drove approximately 60 miles to Wrexham, Wales, where he stopped to watch a movie at a cinema. The film he chose was one of the Fast and Furious series, the same movie he had previously tried to persuade Georgia to see with him. Meanwhile, with Reynolds already in police custody, authorities appealed to the public for information. Several individuals came forward, revealing they had assisted Reynolds when his van became stuck on the roadside. Upon learning the location from these witnesses, police were confident they would soon discover Georgia. On May 31st, 5 days after her disappearance, Georgia Williams' body was tragically found. She was naked and partially concealed in a woodland area near Wrexham. Jamie Reynolds was formally charged with her murder, although his plea in court remained uncertain. On December 2, 2013, Jamie Reynolds appeared at Stafford Crown Court. Stephen Williams, Georgia's father, observed Reynolds outside the courtroom, where he appeared jovial and unconcerned, displaying no remorse for the devastation he had caused. However, his demeanor abruptly shifted to one of meekness and childlike behavior as he entered the courtroom. Inside, Reynolds pleaded guilty to Georgia's murder, a moment that brought a sense of relief to her grieving family. On December 19th, he received the most severe sentence available under British law, a whole life order, ensuring he would spend the rest of his life in prison without any possibility of parole. This made Reynolds one of the youngest individuals in British criminal history to receive such a sentence. Mr. Justice Wilkes said, "The sentence I pass on is one of life imprisonment. The early release provisions are not to apply to you. I make a whole life order." In 2014, Jamie Reynolds appealed his whole life order, but the Court of Appeal upheld the sentence, stating there were no grounds to challenge it. His appeal was firmly rejected. Following his conviction, an investigation into how Reynolds' prior offenses against women were handled by the police commenced. As a result, 6 officers from the West Mercia Police received misconduct notices related to the 2008 case. In memory of Georgia Williams, the local community rallied together, raising over $2,000 to fund a memorial bench in her honor. Additionally, her family established the Georgia Williams Trust, a charity dedicated to supporting young people in pursuing their aspirations through grants and partnerships. This initiative stands as a meaningful tribute to Georgia's vibrant spirit and passion for life.